Let's talk about meetings. For most of us, they're the interruptions between our work, the things that get in the way. But what if we've been thinking about them all wrong? What if the meeting itself could be turned from just another video call into something way, way more powerful? Today, we're going to look at a concept that's trying to do exactly that.
So here's how we'll break it down. First, we'll dive into a problem we all know way too well, the absolute chaos of modern meetings. Then we'll explore a totally new way of thinking about them, shifting from a temporary session to a permanent meeting OS. And finally, we'll see how this actually works with 3 really cool examples: persistent rooms that remember everything, embedded experiences that come to you, and an AI co-pilot that completely changes the game.
All right, let's start with the modern meeting problem. It's that feeling, right? You look at your calendar and it's just this wall of back-to-back calls. It feels like you're drowning. And it turns out that's not just a feeling. The data shows it's very, very real.
And the scale of this is just staggering. Microsoft did the research and found that weekly meeting time for the average person has shot up by 252% since early 2020. I mean, think about that. We aren't just in a few more meetings, we're in exponentially more. It's no wonder we're all exhausted.
And here's the real heart of the problem. A meeting isn't just a place to talk anymore. It's where we're supposed to coordinate tasks, make big decisions, and actually execute work. But our tools, they were never built for that. And that mismatch is what creates this chaotic, fragmented experience for all of us. So the crucial point is this. Platforms like Zoom or Teams were basically built like a telephone call. You get on, you talk, you hang up, and poof, the context just vanishes into thin air. They treat the meeting like it's a temporary, disposable thing, which is totally out of sync with how we need to work today.
Okay, so if the old model is broken, what's the solution? Well, it takes a fundamental shift in how we think about it. We have to move from the idea of a disposable session to a persistent operating system. Think of it like this. The old model, the session, is temporary. It's forgetful. But the new model, which Parivox calls the operating system, is different. A session is like a one-off phone call, right? But an OS is more like a living, breathing project folder that always remembers exactly where you and your team left off.
And this is what a meeting operating system really is. It's one single, persistent space, a room, where everything actually happens together. You've got the conversation, the coordination of who's doing what, the actual execution of the work using different tools, and most importantly, the continuity from one meeting to the next.
Okay, theory is great, but let's dive into our first use case. This one tackles a problem that I am sure every single one of us has felt, what I like to call meeting amnesia.
You totally know the drill. You spend the first 10 minutes of every single follow-up meeting just trying to remember what you decided last time. It's because traditional meetings have no memory. Sure, you get a summary, but it's a static, backward-looking document that gets lost in an email chain. The living context is just gone the second that call ends.
But a persistent room, it remembers everything. All the context, every decision, all the files, it's always right there. This creates this seamless continuity. You stop joining calls for status updates, and instead you just open the room to pick up exactly where you left off.
Next up, let's look at how this idea can break the meeting out of its little box and bring it directly to where your customers already are. So, just imagine this for a second. A customer is on your pricing page. They have a question. They click a button that says Talk to an Expert, and boom! The web page itself transforms into a live collaboration space. There's no clumsy link to another app, no downloads, no signups. It is just a completely seamless, embedded experience that meets the customer right in their moment of need.
Our final use case really brings this all together, and it's focused on those really high-stakes moments. Here, it's not just about having a room that remembers things. It's about a real partnership between a human and an AI, freeing people up to do what they do best. So in this model, the AI co-pilot is an active participant in the meeting. It handles all that coordination and execution burden we talked about earlier. So while you're talking, it's doing live research, capturing decisions as you make them, creating documents or slides in real time, and even helping to manage the agenda to keep the whole conversation on track.
And here is the real payoff. With the AI handling all that mechanical work, the human is completely free to focus on the stuff that is irreplaceable. Things like building trust in relationships, deep strategic thinking, and making those crucial judgment calls that can close a deal or solve a really complex problem.
So let's just end with this thought. We've all been trained to see meetings as attacks on our productivity, But what if that's only because our tools have been stuck in the past? What if the meeting could be redesigned from the ground up to be the single most productive, focused, and effective moment in your entire workday?